Did you notice the shift from elite to middle class? Back in the day, owning a car used to be a status symbol over owning horses. Nowadays, it's the other way around. And I was joking to a friend of mine about this, only to realize how serious that was, and just confused. When did the switch happen? Today we're going to be talking about the current trends of grandma core, the off-grid living, the political and economical state of the world, where does the interpersonal and internal intimacy with ourselves stand from a 2000 non-Gen Z Gen Z. That was quite an introduction to the video. Anyways, if you're new here, hi. My name is Ayushi and this is Think a Thought episode 2, where we talk about things that we've just accepted as a society without really questioning it. Cultural shifts that went unnoticed, and basically we question the human choices.
This is how much it actually costs to go off-grid in 2026.
I genuinely cannot wait to be 68 years old, and this is what I've been saying for almost half a decade now. But why is every millennial 2000s kid is so fascinated by staying at home, quitting their 9 to 5, traveling around the world, solo dates, trips, and wellness over the hustle culture's mindset? Is it actually because we're finally understanding that the hustle culture is just absolute capitalist BS, or is it because that's what we can afford? As someone who grew up with the age of internet, not precisely in it, what exactly happened? And here's my answer up front. None of this is a random trend. Cottagecore, gardening, collecting physical media, journals, grandma core, knitting, reading, those are increasing as hobbies and trends and book talks. They are adaptations to economic pressure and digital exhaustion and a search of human connection. It started with money and not the aesthetics. Let's begin the class. Chapter 1. The politics of rising prices and failing quality.
You're not bad with money. Prices are just double what they were 20 years ago.
I go in the grocery store, not only is everything exponentially priced and less in the packaging that it used to be, but also the quality is garbage.
You've probably noticed that clothes keep getting more expensive, but the quality keeps getting worse.
You know what's crazy is how expensive going out has gotten, and the fact that Gen Z is like, we're just not doing it anymore.
You know what's crazy is that it's so much easier to save money because everything's such bad quality.
The majority of Americans cannot afford a minimal quality of life. We're talking about the bottom 60% of U.S. households here. Now, 11% of U.S. households are beneath the poverty line, and so we often think about poverty as the level at which people are struggling. But what this study did was look at what it takes to have just sort of like a basic quality of life.
Basically normalized at this point to literally just do your job, pay your bills, and barely be able to save at the end of the month. Like, it's just so normalized to go to a grocery store and literally panic every time you go grocery shopping.
A few years ago, my commute used to cost me £3. Now it costs me £8. That means if I went to the office 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, it would cost me £40 a week, £200 a month.
Everything has a price tag. You know that. Every single thing has a price tag, but that price tag is getting a bit out of hands at this point. That planning a solo date means maybe no olive oil this month, or washing pods means no takeouts this month. And when I say it like that, it sounds so sad, but that's the reality of every middle class or minimum wage earner, if you will. You need to understand that an entire generation cannot afford to plan hangouts anymore. They stay indoor, causing the loneliness epidemic. But they can't afford to lose their sanity either, so they pick up hobbies, cheaper hobbies, relatively cheaper hobbies, and they call it prioritizing themselves, self-care trends. That part is good and sustainable, but what's leading us there isn't as pretty. And I'm a new player in the game. I do not know what eggs costed 5 years ago, and I do not have much to compare it to. But I did work at a retail store for 2 years and watched the prices climb in real time. So the numbers are fascinating. The number of ingredients in the same product in Europe versus the rest of the world are too darn big to not consider it political. Why are there so many ingredients in words that are so unfamiliar to the common people? If those are just chemicals, why are those chemicals in my food? I don't want plastic in my sweater or chemicals that I've never heard of on my plate. While the capitalists are enjoying their third cruise of the year with no worry in the world, and I wish this was not something I had to talk about. But here we are. Because my biggest fear did come true as an ingredient in a disguised name of a chemical on the back of the snack packet that I used to eat religiously after college. I used to literally walk into Sainsbury's and they had it and I would eat it. Only for this content creator, I do not have that video anymore. I remember watching this content creator exposing all the ingredients, these unrecognizable names, hard to pronounce names on the ingredient list, and they said, that literally means pork, a pig. I'm a vegetarian, so that wasn't really fun for me. Yeah. And here's the thing. It's not just food. Thrift store used to be treasury. You'd find jewelry boxes and good quality, emphasis, good quality products, good quality clothes, handbags, shoes, whatnot. And sometimes even find like someone's old camera footage in their devices. But that used to be fun, wasn't it? And I think it's funny to say, we have probably 3 to 5 more good years of thrifting left, because today's modern expensive junk is going to end up in thrift stores in 5 to 10 years. And the quality is literally expensive trash. Someone on TikTok said, today's luxury in fashion is just fast fashion with a good marketing. And I'll take that. That is so true. Imagine walking into a thrift store 10 years from now. What do you think you're going to find? Labubus? The fall in quality, food, clothing, furniture, all of it is a clear indicator where we stand economically. And it explains why the entire generation that was supposed to be the digital generation is so scared and traumatized that it wants to go back to a version of time that they didn't even witness, the good old days. And it's not just the cost or the quality of living. It's the surveillance cameras, the AI face recognition softwares, the general sense of being watched makes all of this feel so dystopian in a way that's hard to separate it from political and economic perspective. Or is it just self-preservation? I think it's both. A bit of both. Chapter 2. The worship of productivity and hustle culture.
What is this obsession with becoming billionaires? That just means hoarding money. Really don't understand.
The hustle culture trend is not healthy. Having a booked calendar, sleeping for 4 hours a night and grinding your ass off towards a goal without having time to actually enjoy it, what's the point? Do you want to get to 50 and look back and think, I had a busy life or I had a fulfilling life?
You shouldn't have to monetize your hobbies, the things you should be doing for fun, just to have a quick second stream of income. You shouldn't have to take 1,000 surveys a day or join 30 focus groups or play that little bingo, bubble pop, whatever game with the hopes of making an extra $20 so you can eat something decent for dinner. And you shouldn't have hot girl side hustles bookmarked anywhere on your technology.
Hustle culture told me that exhaustion was proof that I was taking seriously my success. I was only 19 and my face was already puffy from stress and inflammation, yet I still went to the gym even when I was tired and worked far too late.
Unpopular opinion, but buying into the whole hustle culture thing doesn't make you productive. It's usually just an excuse for your lack of time management.
I think we've officially passed the live fast, die young and entered the my piece over explaining my perspective mindset. We're finally seeing ourselves as individuals rather than just a society as a collective. We're looking within our interpersonal relationships and as a society as a whole as well, which I think is a big time win. During COVID, people were trapped indoors with a threat to life situation, realizing we'd collectively been walking in a very wrong direction altogether. The hustle world, chasing promotions, becoming workaholics and coming home late and forgetting family events. And basically, COVID just set us back to reflect upon our interpersonal relationships instead of just focusing on financial expansion. That's the pivot. I think that's somewhere when the switch started to gradually flip. And I think that gave rise to the trends such as cottagecore in 2020, a home where peace is preferred over the hustle culture, nervous system regulation, priority shifting from a successful hamster on a wheel to being a human with a soul. And then came the sub-trends of underconsumption and going analog movement, and then now the grandma core. In the world where success used to mean promotions and fancy cars, a luxury brand, and owning more, the world started slowly becoming more intentional and grounded. Not everywhere, not in every aspect of our lives, but we have come a long way. As a collective, we started asking questions, not just to the norms, the government, and the systems, but also to ourselves. Why am I doing this? What do I want? Where do I want my life to go? Not what the society expects me to be or where the society thinks I should be as a 25-year-old, but where do I want to go? What is my story? And that is a very good thing. Growing up, I was taught to live for others and to consider everyone's emotions before I make a choice for myself. Not intentionally, but that is how the previous generations worked, and that's what they passed down because that's all they knew. But I think our generation is finally healing that part of us and thinking about the intimacy within ourselves and not looking at putting ourselves first as a taboo, unlike the previous generations. This all is great. The underconsumption core, the minimalistic lifestyle and prioritizing yourself and self-care trends and all of those things. These are great. But is any of this actually a value shift, or is it a trauma response to the economic and political state of the world? Are we just trying to preserve ourselves from all these wars that are happening around the world, the economical or political wars, both included, and trying to protect our own sanity in that? Or are we becoming conscious enough to save the planet with underconsumption? Or are we just trying to save the last penny in the jar in a capitalistic state? Once you start asking those questions and trace it back to COVID, it stops being random. Chapter 3. The digital generation wants to go analog.
2026 is clearly the year of analog. Everyone wants to get off their phones, journal, scrapbook, hold something real. And it made me think about how much time we spend creating things that disappear.
Here's how to actually be more analog in 2026.
The more AI takes over, the more human I'm determined to become. And the way I'm going to be doing that is incorporating more analog activities and hobbies into my life.
How did a generation that was born on the internet end up trying to escape it? I think the digital age came with an unseen cost of privacy, the data centers drinking our riverbeds, the AI face recognition, the digital IDs. We're realizing that the internet has a forever memory and what it actually means. How much content is available to children and adults alike. Living an analog life starts to look a lot better in comparison. As a kid, the number of times me and my cousins used to come back home with a bleeding knee or an elbow is on camera recorders and tapes. However, somewhere along the line, we lost those human connections. Today, the kids are on live streams, watched throughout the world. None of that is to say that technology is bad and we should ban it and we should just erase all technology of the world. No, I'm not saying any of that. How do you think an international student survives an emotional warfare being so far away from home? But growing up inside the age of internet did give us a fatigue towards it as well. And as Gen Z, we're supposed to. Wait, there's a train. As Gen Z, we're supposed to be the digital generation, duh. But we're the ones running towards analog and buying film cameras and, the disposable cameras and stuff like that. And did you realize that we are bringing the old technology and merging it with the newer ones? Do you remember that beautiful, beautiful marketing campaign? I work in marketing. It was a beautiful marketing campaign that happened for the landline phones that are connected to your smartphone via Bluetooth. So you don't have to be on your phone 24/7 and you can still enjoy that vintage feel. Vintage feel. We used to have it at home when I was a child. Vintage. Oh my God, I am old. Anyways, I think this is going so much unnoticed by us, the fact that we are combining the old and new technology and trying to live more intentionally like the previous generation. Because we know modern technology is a problem that is taking away our intentionality, mindfulness, far, far, far away from us. We're becoming so much more on an autopilot mode right now. And same with the film cameras. There are film cameras now that can develop the photos immediately for you or can be connected to your laptops via the Type-C cables. Innovation. Technologia. Growing up in 2010s, we saw the rise of the gray minimalistic homes. And now my Instagram feed is full of, why did we choose modern when we had this? And then there's a whole bunch of montage of old traditional homes aesthetics, the wall murals, the furniture with a personality to it. We're moving from the gray millennial homes to Rob Reiner rom-com and Nancy Meyer's kitchen energy. And I love that. I love that. Love it to pieces. The internet is flooded with these comparisons of the old architecture versus the modern one and what's been lost. And videos of people restoring their homes back to what's hidden under their carpets. People are growing vegetables in their backyards, learning to make pasta and sauce from scratch instead of buying a 100-ingredient ready-made jarred version. Picking knitting back up. And here's the thing, none of this is new. People have been doing this for a long, long time. They've been living this cottagecore grandma life for way longer than way before than it was a trend. Choosing their peace over worldly drama, choosing art and story, and in one form or the other, and all over the world, gardening used to be a very niche hobby. Now it's a survival skill again, long after the hunter-gatherers have left the chart. Chapter 4. The Politics of Everyday Life.
You feel like life is shit right now and everything is so expensive? I just want to let you know that it's all intentional. It's all part of billionaires' plans to see how much exploitation we can take, how much they could raise rent, how much they could raise groceries, how little they could pay us before we revolt. They do not give a fuck if stuff is affordable for us, if stuff is comfortable for us. They just want to see how much money we're willing to put down without making a ruckus.
Question everything. Question everything. If they tell you not to eat eggs, then you best believe you better be eating some eggs. If they tell you that the sun is bad for you, then go sit in the sun. If they tell you sunscreen is good for you, then stay away from sunscreen. Guys, I feel like people still don't get it, but the government don't really care about you, and all they care about is their pockets and making money off sick people. So they will feed you artificial shit and tell you that it's okay, and they will tell you that meat and eggs and butter and fish and whatever is bad for you. Yet they will shove down your throat processed artificial shits because they don't care about your health.
Somebody asked me the other day, why don't you trust the government? What radicalized you?
Oh, but you were never supposed to trust your government. Questioning authority is not the radical position. Being blindly obedient to authority, that's the radical position. I mean, nearly every single radical, backwards, despot, batshit crazy dictatorship in all of history is the result of hordes and hordes of idiots believing that this government, this one's different, this dear leader, this is the one that we should obey and trust without question. The moderate position is that you elect a government and then you hold them relentlessly accountable to the letter of the law until you elect a new one, and then you do that again, and you never stop doing that.
3 things I'm doing because I don't trust the government. Number 1, got land, went off grid, produced my own water, energy and food. I call this having practical independence, having the physical necessities of life without depending on the mainstream system. Number 2, educating myself on how the system actually works.
When you stop paying attention, you are easier to keep stuck in debt, stuck in survival mode, and stuck working just to scrape by.
It's not one thing that is overwhelming our systems. I mean, think about it. Somewhere there is a blue whale deep in the ocean, the untouched part of the ocean, just swimming. A 250-year-old turtle is living its best day, a lion sleeping peacefully in the untouched part of the jungle. And then there's you and me, stuck in an overcrowded subway for an hour to reach a place we genuinely do not want to be at, and then sit in front of a metal box for 8 hours straight, then return in this same sweat-smelly, rat-infected subway to come home, cook dinner, and then die in bed. We spend 47 weeks out of a year working a job that we do not like so we can afford 4 weeks away from it. Says a lot why people want to leave their 9-to-5 jobs. We were never built for this lifestyle that we are leading. No, that does not mean that the technology should cease to exist. There should be no businesses, none of that. But in the name of in the name of technological advancement, we forgot to be human. We keep chasing the next big thing and keep postponing our own happiness. And I'm guilty of that too. But it has robbed us of our peace. An entire generation is called rude because they learned to say no. It's called unprofessional because we learned to hold boundaries at work and in our personal lives. We are called sensitive because we talk about trauma and mental health like it's something that's important. That's the irony. This generation is without meaning to, without being told to or asked to, trying to escape the hamster from the wheel. And it's reclaiming the time, the control, the community, the privacy, the art, turning back the clock towards something meaningful, mindful, intentional. But none of this is backed by natural organic cause. It's backed by ridiculously, disgustingly greedy people, economic pressure, unaffordability of necessities, trust issues with the system that was supposed to protect us. The idea itself isn't bad. It's good for the environment, for your financial and mental sanity. The sad part and the sad reality is the motivation behind it. Growing your own harvest is sustainable and grounding, but it shouldn't come from a fear that one day you might not be able to afford anything better than edible plastic on your plate. Until next time.